Welcome to day 13 of My Chicago Golf's Indoor Golf Challenge. Thank you for joining me. We started off that first week talking about the golf swing and giving you some checkpoints to build your swing and a foundation. The last few days we've been troubleshooting, and today I want to talk about how to stand to the golf ball for a driver versus an iron versus a short game shot versus a putt. The swings are going to be fairly similar, but pre-swing there's going to be some differences. I want to show you some tour players hitting these different shots and give you ways to check your pre-swing fundamentals at home. So let's get started. So before we discuss the differences between the driver, iron, short game, and putter, I want to talk about some of the similarities. Even though these clubs are different, they all have a flat face. So the putter has a flat face, the wedge has a flat face, all right? Same thing with the driver and the irons. And so because we are holding a stick with a flat face, we're still gonna be doing some of the same things that we need for good golf shots. We need to swing towards the target with the golf club pointed towards the target. That's gonna be the same for a putt as it is for a short shot, as it is for a drive. All right, but the differences that we're going to notice between the clubs, number one, I'll just grab all four of them. Okay. We're going to go from shortest to longest. So the first difference, okay, is the length. So I have my putter over here on the left. So I go putter, sand wedge, 7-iron, driver. So this would be our spectrum of golf clubs. Okay, so we have differences in length. And then the other difference is going to be the loft. So basically the angle of the club face. So with this sand wedge, that club face is pointed more up to the sky. That ball is going to launch higher and it's not going to go as far. And then we got the flat face driver. It's going to launch a little bit lower, go farther. And then we got the putter. It's pretty much flat, has a couple degrees of loft. We're going to roll it. Okay. So the difference that we need here with these clubs, there's going to be some differences in our stance and where we put our weight. So we're going to start off with the sand wedge and a short game shot. Now, when we're hitting these shorter shots, we're going to have more of a narrow stance. I want you to have 3 widths of stance. Shoulder width. This is what we'll use with standard full swings. We're going to have slightly more narrow than shoulder width, which is what we're going to use with short game. Okay. And then we're going to have slightly wider than shoulder width, which is what we're going to use with the driver. Now, the reason for changing the width of the stance, if we keep the ball position the same, as I make a wider stance, the bottom of the swing is going to be more before the ball, and then it starts to move up, which is what we want with the driver. When we have our shoulder width apart, then the bottom of the swing, we're going to hit ball first and then the ground. And then with our narrow stance, this puts the ball further back in the stance, and the club's going to be moving more down. So all our pre-swing changes, it's made to change the angle of attack, how the club is moving through the ball. So with the short game shot, we want narrow stance, weight towards the target. So for all these ball positions, I'm going to keep it right on the inside of my lead foot. So narrow stance, weight forward. This creates, okay, a descending angle of attack. We're hitting down. That's what we want with short shots. Okay, the grip is going to be the same. Here I'm going to a 7-iron. And then now I'm going shoulder width apart, and I'm balanced 50-50. Okay, so I'm very much balanced. Going to be able to turn back and turn through. And then with the driver, okay, this is where I'm going to go a little bit wider than shoulder width. And then I'm going to take my spine and I'm going to tilt it slightly away from the target. So when I have this wide stance, this ball's forward, my spine is tilted away from the target, the club, it's going to come through really smooth, maybe even slightly ascending. So the driver is the opposite of the short game shot, where we have narrow in weights going left. My spine is even angled maybe a degree towards the target. Okay? They're complete opposites because we want the club to move through smooth with the driver because it's on the tee, and then with the wedge we want it to be moving down so that way we could have the ball pop up. So the final club would be the putter. Okay, and with the putter, all right, I'm looking to see that we're somewhere around shoulder width apart. I want our eyes over the ball or slightly inside of it, and then I want the shaft going right through your forearms here. So we have a putter stance here. All right. As far as how far away we want to stand away, typically it's about 2 to 3 putter widths. That usually gets your eyes over, slightly inside, and balanced. So let me show you some tour players hitting these different shots, and then I'll provide some more checkpoints for you to do in your living room. So let's look at the 4 shots, and let's look at the stance here. We are using Rory McIlroy for all of these. So what we're going to notice, we have the feet shoulder width apart. So we're drawing lines just straight up from the ankle. We're seeing that it goes through the front shoulder, back shoulder. It's pretty balanced right there. When we look at ball position and make a line up from where the ball is at, we're going to see that's just forward of center. So that ball is right underneath his left eye. And we can see the length of his stroke going back. So that's the trick. You could use your feet as reference points. And we're trying to have a pendulum-like stroke. And so we could see kind of the length of the backstroke. As he follows through, we could see the length of the follow-through. And it's also just past his shoe. So very pendulum-like when he's making this putting stroke. Okay. Back, through. And when we're checking out putting here from the side, if we're drawing a line straight down from his eyes, let's kind of go back here. So Rory has his eyes right over the ball. We could see the shaft of the putter. It's going to be going through his forearms. He is balanced, and so the way that we were measuring it, we were saying that it's typically kind of 2 putter heads widths away from our body, 2 to 3. That usually gets it under your eyes or slightly inside of the eyes. When we go to the short game shot, so he has a wedge right here, we are going to see width of stance more narrow than shoulder width. And so just drawing these lines up from the ankle. And then these ones are right inside of shoulder width. That ball, because the stance is more narrow, it's slightly back in his stance. So instead of going right under the buttons on his shirt or his sternum, it's just a little bit back of center. Okay. Held off finish with a wedge. Then this is going to be a full swing here with a mid-iron. So now this is stock. We have shoulder width apart right here with the feet, wider than the wedge shot. And then if we look at that ball position, that is right underneath the left ear. So just stock, standard, full swing stance with an iron. Then let's get to the driver. We have the driver, widest of all stances. So we're drawing that line up from the ankle, outside of the shoulders. That ball is forward in his stance. So we're gonna see that ball essentially going underneath his left shoulder. And again, when the ball starts to move forward, it creates a very smooth or even slightly ascending angle of attack. And we could actually see this when he hits it. He's clipping the tee, but the tees didn't even come out of the ground. So that club is moving a couple degrees up through impact. All right, so get this good width of stance for the driver. Get shoulder width apart, right here for the iron. More narrow when you have that wedge shot. And then go shoulder width with the putts. All right, let's give you some checkpoints for each one of these golf clubs. So we're gonna start from shortest and then go up to longest. So we're gonna start off with the putter. So a simple way to get into a good putting stance, hold the putter out in front of you. So that way the shaft of the putter is going right through your forearms. When you hold the putter, it's gonna be going more through your palms as well. And so when you hold it like this, again, there should be a straight line, shaft through the forearms. My arms, they're not completely straight. There's a little bit of bend in them. And what I want you to do, just stand tall, and then I want you to push your hips back and bend forward, and then find your balance. All right. Again, eyes, I'm gonna step to this ball. Eyes over the ball, shaft going through the forearms. I like that ball just forward of center underneath your left eye. So that way when we're putting, the bottom of the swing is very, very, very smooth, and we could just, we don't want to have it too far back where we're hitting down. It makes you start it off to the right, or too far forward where we start hitting up and starting it left. Yeah. Short game shot. I want you to set up to this with the same routine that we talked about in day one. So get your hands on. We will put club behind the ball first, left foot, club heads width, right foot, less than shoulder width, little bit of weight forward. So my hands are out in front of my left thigh, my lead thigh, my weight's forward. The alignment of my feet, you'll also notice that they are slightly pointed left. Again, that's what helps me hit down on it. All right, with the full swing. So with the full swing, same routine, okay? First, and then club heads width inside. We'll go shoulder width. Now, here's the thing. You could have, if you're doing a full swing with a sand wedge, set up like this. Shoulder width, turn back, turn through. If you want to hit a shorter shot with your 7-iron, you can get into the short game stance with your 7-iron, and this will help you hit it lower, and we'll typically do this when we're trying to hit it under the wind. So you could use these stances with different clubs if you want to change the trajectory of the shot. But I'm showing you short game, this is full swing, club heads width, shoulder width apart, and then we have our driver. All right, so I'm putting the driver right behind it, left foot, right foot. With the driver, I have that ball right against my front heel. I like having people take off their right hand and put it on the side of their leg. And then I like them to look at themselves in a mirror and add just a little bit of spine tilt. This is good with your longer irons too. It helps us come down smooth and sweeping, but you still want to be balanced between your left and your right side. The most common driver mistake that I see is too much weight on the front foot like this. When we're balanced, okay? When we're balanced, between your left and your right side, this ball position is going to be right underneath your left armpit to shoulder with the driver. With an iron, it's going to be right underneath your left ear. With your short game shot, it's going to be right underneath your nose, maybe even a little bit back in the stance. And then the putter It's gonna be right underneath that left eye. So with all of these, I still want you balanced. I still want you doing the routine of club first and then building your stance. And if you could get these pre-swing fundamentals clean, it's really what leads to consistency out there on the golf course. So definitely check these stances when you're at home, and I will see you tomorrow.